Hey everybody, I'm KHOU 11 Meteorologist Pat Cavlin here, and it is day 2 of Severe Weather Awareness and Preparedness Week. Yesterday's topic was heat safety. Today is thunderstorm safety, and we're going to be focusing on the difference between a regular thunderstorm and a severe thunderstorm. So let's talk about what makes a thunderstorm severe. There's really 2 factors that we take a look at. One is wind damage and wind strength. Basically, the threshold for a severe thunderstorm is wind speeds that are going over 58 miles per hour. On top of that, hail is the other factor. Any hail that falls that has a diameter of over 1 inch is considered to be large hail. And then the other obvious factor that goes beyond these 2 is if a storm is producing a tornado. So any tornadic storm obviously considered to be severe. So let's go through each of these and just talk about exactly how they form. With wind, it's a really interesting phenomenon. It's probably the most common aspect that we see with severe storms here in southeast Texas. So here's your thunderstorm. What happens is in the upper levels, you get dry air that starts to filter its way into the storm. And as that happens, it cools and becomes more dense. And through that process, it starts to fall through the storm. And as it continues to fall, it accelerates before it hits the ground. Then once it hits the ground, it fans out, and that's where that damage can occur. And these wind speeds can get upwards of 100 to 150 miles per hour. And a lot of times, straight line damaging winds can be confused with tornadoes just because of how sudden and how fast they are. But oftentimes, these storms can be more impactful than tornadoes because they cover a larger swath of area. So that's the wind damage component with thunderstorms. Let's talk about hail now. How does hail develop? Hail is actually a directly related to the strength of a thunderstorm, right? So the stronger a thunderstorm is, the larger the hail. And the reason for that is because it has to do with updraft speed. So updrafts are the rising motions within thunderstorms. Well, the stronger the rising motions, the stronger the thunderstorms. Well, also the stronger these updrafts are, the more weight they're able to support. So what happens is these water droplets get carried into the storm, and they get so far up into the air that they start to freeze. Well, the more time they spend in that cloud, the more ice they're able to accumulate on their surface and the larger they get. Well, they're only able to stay inside of that cloud if those updrafts are strong enough. So again, the stronger the storm, the stronger the updraft, and the larger the hailstones. And they will stay in the cloud until the hail weight becomes greater than the updraft strength, and then eventually the hailstone falls to the ground, potentially causing damage sometimes. And finally, this isn't a component with severe thunderstorms, but just all thunderstorms in general, lightning. This is actually what determines what a thunderstorm is, because a thunderstorm obviously can't be without thunder and lightning. So lightning, a factor with all kinds of storms that develop. And basically, you just want to keep in mind that, first of all, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be hit by lightning. And the worst place to be during thunderstorms is anywhere out in an open field, in a high elevated place, and even near tall trees, especially ones that are isolated. You don't want to be near water or metal, of course. The safest place to be is inside of a building or even inside of your car. And a great way to determine how far away a storm is to you, if you can see a lightning strike, is to count the distance between that lightning and when you hear the thunder. So you see lightning strike, and every 5 seconds that goes by, that's a mile away. So if you hear thunder 10 seconds after you see lightning strike, that storm is 2 miles away. But again, even if you can't see the lightning, but you can hear the thunder, you are close enough to get struck by lightning. So that's the latest on thunderstorms and severe thunderstorms and the differences between both. Keep all of this in mind as we start to get into the spring and summer months.